Hello, beautiful people. This is Dr. Dain here, inviting you to explore, discover, and celebrate you. And you may ask, what are you talking about? Well, May 22nd is International Being You Day. It's the very first one of its kind. And as part of this, one of the invitations that we have available is actually discovering what it is to be us. And going on the exploration of that and celebrating what it is when we're truly being us and the gift that that can be. And the thing is, you would think that here you are, you've been being you for a long time. Of course you would have discovered what that is by now. But in actuality, most of us haven't. You see, we've grown up and we've been taught from day one that there's a right way to be and a wrong way to be. And usually the way we wanted to be was the wrong way. and we've also been taught that being us is having the right image and not having stuff on your lips when you're making a video, for one example, okay? And we've also been taught that being us is doing the things that other people expect of us and never doing anything that isn't what is expected of us. And so we have a lot of skewed ideas about what this whole concept actually is. And so consider this your invitation to discover what is true for you. How do you get there? Well, you can ask yourself in any situation, what is really true for me here? And a really great tool that can be really helpful is what's true for you always makes you lighter. A lie for you always makes you heavier. And so if you're going to, respond a certain way to somebody, like for example, somebody sends you a mean email or something, you go to write one back, you're like, but it doesn't make you lighter. That may not be you being you in the response. See, in a lot of the ways in which we react to things in the world, those are conditioned responses. Where did we learn those? From all kinds of people in our lives. A great question you can ask is, who am I being here? If you're going to do something that's not very light for you, who am I being? And what would I choose if I were truly being me? This is part of the discovery, which is also part of the exploration. And what occurs is, on any exploration you go on, treat it as a new journey. Rather than, I know what I like, I know what I don't like, I know what I feel about this, I know what I feel about this and this and this, I know what my points of view are on this. Allow yourself to be more malleable. Allow yourself to be more flexible. And allow yourself to actually be the question. What is actually true for me? And if nothing I thought were true actually were, what would I choose? And when you get into a situation and it seems some particular way, if it makes you heavy, you want to ask, okay, if it weren't this way, what choices would I have available? Because the idea of exploring being you and the idea of discovering what that is you get to have this sense of getting to be whatever it is that you are in any situation, with any person, even the stressful ones, even the ones that make your head spin. You still get to be there as you because you actually know what that is. And so a lot of you watching are going to be like, but I know what's true for me. You probably do know certain things that are true for you. But let me put it to you really simply one more time. What's true for you will always make you lighter. When you respond to a certain situation or a certain person, when you're truly being you, it'll be light. When you're reading something, when you're watching something that gives you more of you, it'll be light because it's what's actually true for you. So the idea is to get to find out, who are we? And what's really true for us? Well, how do you do that? It's not as esoteric as you might think. It's actually far more practical. It involves us being in the question as we live our lives and seeing those things that we choose, just as an observer, basically, seeing those things that we choose that make us heavier and going, okay, what would be true for me here and what would I truly like to choose? Seeing those things that make us lighter and acknowledging that's what I would truly choose if I were being me, since I chose it and it made me lighter, it must be me being me. And what you do is, it's kind of like the greatest detective game of all time, that you can continuously go on to find out what's true for you. And people ask me, well, why? Like, why would I want to do that? Because when you're truly being you, your life works. When you're truly being you, you're that person that you want to be for other people that you feel like you may not have access to right now. When you're truly being you, you know what's true for you, and you have a sense of where you'd like to go and what you'd like to create. You actually have a sense of being able to create and craft a future that actually works for you. All the stuff where you have an idea or a fear of future, all the stuff where you have the fear that what's going on right now will stay and will not get any better, is fundamentally because we're disconnected from being us and what's true for us. Because when you get in touch with you as a being, you have the sense of knowing what's true for you and knowing that you can change things. And it may not occur instantaneously, but you know that you have the capacity, and you know that if you give yourself enough no judgment, enough time and enough space, that you can change anything. That's part of the gift of being you, and it's part of the celebration. So the celebration part of this is acknowledging that it is an amazing gift to be something so different on the planet as to be you. You're like, what? Isn't everybody else being them? No. In fact, almost, well, I'm not going to say almost nobody, but it's a rare thing to find somebody who truly just shows up as them. And here's how it shows up. It's like, hi, here I am, warts and all. When you're truly being you, you don't have to hide the things that you have that aren't working. You don't have to try to prove that you're perfect. You don't have to try to prove that you're greater than you think you are. But what starts to show up is this sort of, this quiet, persistent presence and ease and a gratitude for you and a sense that you don't have anything to prove to anybody. If we had a world of people functioning like that, what would that be like? One of the things I know is if we're going to have a world that functions like that, it's going to have to start with us. You guys, the ones watching who are like, that actually sounds interesting to me. And, I wrote a book called Being You, Changing the World. It came out in 2011. And here we are in 2021 as of the making of this video. And it's been amazing to me to see how many people now are talking about the value of being them, about be yourself, about be what is true for you. And I wholeheartedly agree. I am so grateful people are talking about it. And consider this your invitation to go on a deep dive, but also a really awesome ride, a really awesome journey. Because this is one of the last unexplored frontiers, what it is to truly be us. And I can tell you, in having worked with a lot of people around the world and being continuously on this journey myself, there's so much magic that shows up along the way. And it always occurs when I'm just being something. And here's the other weird part about being is, have you ever had one of those times where you just desired something and you were like, oh, I'd love to have that. And you didn't even have a thought in your head almost. You were just like, oh, I'd love to have that. And it showed up? Well, that's because in that moment, some confluence of events perhaps, or some choice you were making, or some presence you were being, allowed you to just be there as you and ask. And here's the weird part that almost nobody knows, is that when you be you and you ask, the universe delivers, which is kind of freaking cool if you think about it. If you're somebody who'd like more magic in your life, this is basically the shortest path between you and a magical life. And what's funny is, who's ever talked about this before? Who's ever talked about you being you as the path to a magical life? Guess what? It's also the path to a fulfilled life. A life that you actually love living. Why? Because think of the disappointment that occurs when somebody is doing something that's not them. They're doing it to please their parents and they hate every day. I have a friend who became a dentist because his parents wanted him to. That wasn't what he wanted to do at all. And so he was miserable every day as he was going to work. And in my world, I was like, oh man, I wonder if there's anything I can do to help. And turns out there wasn't anything I could do to help. What a bummer. But to see somebody that I care about that much struggling because they're being exactly not them. And here's the other thing. A lot of us have created this I guess psychologists or whatever would call it ego or whatever, but I haven't ever found that looking at it from that place gives me clarity and gives me freedom. I prefer to look at it as something that I like to call the not me, which is like, it's almost like programming a little machine or something. I don't know how to put it, but it's like putting into place something that is all the things that are going to supposedly make everything right, that you kind of put out in front that leads your life and is the image that you... Wouldn't it be funny if you did this all the time? People would be like, wonder what they're being. Not them. No. But it's kind of like you put it in front and let it navigate your life for you while you try to be on the autopilot in the passenger seat. Well, this not me runs your life. So part of this journey is actually getting to the awareness when you choose things that are truly not you. And it doesn't mean make you wrong. It doesn't mean, oh, you're bad for choosing that. Everybody I know has something like that going on, at least some of the time. That's not wrong. But there's this beauty in discovering when you choose things that are not you. And if you created, let's say you created a business based on what you thought it was going to be and whatever, and you realize, I am not happy. I've been doing this for 15 years and I am just not happy. Well, that lets you know that there's something there not being you. Can you change it so that you can be happier? Is it possibly time to sell it? Let's say you created a relationship based on not being you. And this is a slippery slope. You need more input on this one. Okay, this is too little input to go, I'm leaving my relationship, because that's not what I'm trying to get you to. But there's certain friendships in your life, for example, that you created based on some weird something. And a true friendship from a space of being you is something that nurtures your very being. Could you just imagine what that would be like? So I'm not trying to prescribe, get rid of a lot of things and that sort of thing. That's not what this is about. What this is about is see what is in your life that is nurturing you, that makes you happier, that makes you lighter. Look at the people, and one of the things you might want to do is just write down a list of people that when you're around them, you get lighter and happier. And then reach out to them a little bit more often. Even if it's just via text, although I do highly suggest a phone call because we hardly even call each other anymore, let alone see each other. And notice that it's such an amazing gift. Like one of those people that when you do finally see them or when you do finally call them, after a while of being away, it's like, you feel like your whole world lightens up. Those are the people that invite the space of your being to exist and to expand. But also the people that acknowledge that, the people that actually can be with you. And there may not be very many of them. You may have a lot of people that you call friends that you don't have that experience with. It's not that they're wrong. It's not that you're wrong. It's just they don't have that. And you don't get that with them. And you know what? That's okay. Maybe other people do. And if you recognize that, and you don't have to stop talking to those people, you don't have to stop partying with them or hanging out with them or doing your book club with them or whatever it is you do, just recognize it and acknowledge it. And you might also ask, okay, if I were truly being me, or you might ask first, do I truly have permission to be me around these people? Because whether you know it or not, most people function from such a high level of judgment of themselves, but also of other people. And they don't say these judgments. They're just there. They're like a refined judgment. They're like judgment light that sort of sits in their world. And you know that there are parts of you that you can't expose because of these judgments. Okay, no problem. It's far more fun to be around people when they don't have those. This is part of the exploration, but if you'll write down as many people as you can think of in your life that you actually feel expanded when you're around them, you feel happier, you feel lighter, you feel more you, feel less wrong. Not that you feel more right, but you feel less wrong. And you have more of a sense of space. And think about the qualities that person has. Think about how they are with you. Think about the energy they have with you, if you want to describe it that way. And then ask yourself, what would I have to change to be that for me? What if I could start right now? See, that's one of the explorations that we can have, is use the experiences we have and the people that we have that are already returning that back to us. And then choose to be that from here outward. I don't know about you, but it sounds like way more fun to me. So, what an amazing exploration, what an amazing discovery it is to actually get to more of being you. And then life becomes a celebration. And you're like, wait a minute, I can't celebrate all the time, I can't party all the time. Well, how many parties have you been to that were actually a celebration? Some. And have you ever been to, I don't know, a wedding or a birthday party or something where there was so much caring put into it and so much acknowledgement of the gift of the person or people or the event that you were celebrating that it was like, wow, this enlivened my spirit. This made me more alive. This is so cool. This awakened me. Well, guess what? There's this possibility for you to be that for you to actually live that way. And I know that I probably sound crazy to some people right now, and I totally get it. But I kind of live that way. Okay, I live that way. And I don't usually talk about it because who's going to listen? And who's not going to think I'm trying to get them to do or be something that they don't want to be? But I live that way. I didn't 20 years ago, but as I have discovered what is true for me as a being, as I've explored that more, that's what it becomes, is a celebration. I mean, if you were to look around my house, there are all these things that I have because they're a celebration of being alive. They're a contribution. And there's so many things in our lives that will contribute to us when we're willing to receive it, and when we're willing to receive our lives as a celebration. And the way to get there is to go on this exploration, go on this discovery, go on this journey of what it is to actually be you. And the way that you get there is just by asking questions, by being the question instead of the conclusion in as many situations as you can, and by acknowledging those things and those people that bring out more of that and enliven you, inspire you, bring you to more joy, bring you to liking yourself and other people more, and then ask to be more of that for you and ask to bring more of that into your life. The rewards are limitless and priceless, I must say. And from this point forward, should you choose to accept it, your life can truly become magical, not on anybody else's scale or by anybody else's standards, but by yours. So consider yourself warmly invited to discover, explore, and celebrate you, and find out the gift you truly be. And what if you, truly being you, total awareness of the gift, the greatness, and the possibilities you have and are the gift, the change, and the possibility this world requires. Have fun exploring, my beautiful friends. I'll see you soon. Bye.